Welcome to Inferior Gaming, where we play video games poorly, and then we talk about it. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Alan.
And today's our very first episode of this new podcast that we're doing together.
Woohoo!
Yay! Yeah. So instead of, so we thought we would dive into our personal video gaming origins and how we got addicted to this weird hobby. It's not weird.
This is a terrible idea because it's gonna, we're just gonna start off with we're two old heads.
Oh yeah.
We're it's gonna reveal oh my god, these people are
old,
crawled out of a grave somewhere and they're covered in cobwebs and dust
and have no right to be talking about this subject. But it's but so many people have a podcast who really shouldn't. So we're among giants.
There's no regulations about quality or talent. No. Thank God.
We would be axed real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very old, so I've been at this for a long time. Some of my earliest memories are playing video games, so I feel like I have grown up alongside video games as a I don't know, genre of entertainment. I don't know what to call that.
So one of my earliest memories is also of a video game. We're going to get into our very first video games, but yeah. I cannot comprehend why we had video games in our household that young, because my parents have never understood video games, have never been interested in having them, I think one time my dad bought me a video game for Christmas, and that is the only time that a parent has gotten me as a child a video game, or as an adult. You know what I'm saying? So they just I cannot comprehend how that video game system ended up in our house, because the adults didn't care. You know?
What system was that?
Okay. We can go into my personal gaming origins here. I am a couple years younger than you.
Yeah.
So
I think it's more than a couple.
Well, sure. But no, I like that because you're firmly Gen X.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
a millennial. So
yeah,
it's not that different, but it's different. And my first system was the Nintendo Entertainment System. And my very first video game was Super Mario Brothers. And Duck Hunt,
okay.
Obviously.
Yeah, Duck Hunt. Yeah, the combo. Yeah.
But we had a couple games. We had Super Mario Brothers 1 and we had Super Mario Brothers 3. And I was so upset that we never had 2, because that was the one where you could play as Peach. And it's the only one where you could play as a girl.
It's is that true?
Yeah, because it had a weird development. It wasn't.
That one is so great.
Yeah.
Mario 2, yeah.
I don't remember anything, but I feel like it was originally developed to be something else. Oh, I used to know the history of 2. It was developed in a very strange way. And
it was not Mario Brothers 2 in Japan. It was this weirdo side project. Yeah, when it got imported to America.
Yeah, it was very strange.
They were we'll just call it Mario 2 and it'll sell better.
Yeah.
And it kind of didn't work out for them,
But so a friend of ours, a family friend, had it. So whenever we would go over to their house, I would insist on playing Super Mario Brothers 2 so I could play as Peach.
Yeah. You could float through the air with Peach.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great.
And then whenever they would come over to our house, we would play Super Mario Brothers 3 because they didn't have 3.
Yeah, 3 was really good.
The ending of the story, just because I've thought about it a lot, about how this game system, plus a plethora of games, ended up in our house, is my mom used to work in the electronics department at Sears. And back then, sometimes she would get to take home display things. We would get a TV or something like that every now and then. Oh, she probably had to pay something cheap for them, but
Right.
And that's probably what happened. That there was when it was first released, a playable, come in and try it out type of thing.
Right.
Somebody must have given it to us otherwise, because my parents would never have bought it.
That makes sense though. That's that's a good deal too. Because they were expensive.
I have absolutely no idea. I was very young. Definitely single digits.
I remember getting Super Mario Brothers, and I played the Duck Hunt Super Mario Brothers game, and I played Super Mario Brothers in the arcade before that, and it was
I never knew it was
utterly mind-blowing to me that there was this arcade perfect game that you could play at your house for no quarters. It was what? Amazing. I couldn't believe that. And I I remember taking months, maybe it wasn't months, but it felt like months. And I was like, I finally beat the game. And all I had done was beat 1-1. Like I could not get through the first level.
Wow.
And then I was like, I did it. I beat the game. And it was like, no, here's level 1-2. And I quickly figured out that even 1-4 was not the end, because the little toadstool guy is like, the princess in another castle. I was like, what?
It's so a couple years ago when they released the mini NES, I did snag one, and so I plugged it in. I played through some of the old games, and it was wild how many we must have had that I didn't remember. Like as soon as Dr. Mario came up, I was like, oh shoot, I remember playing this. But if you'd asked me before that, I wouldn't have had no idea what it was,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even just playing that old Mario Brothers, which me and my sister must have spent hours upon hours playing that as kids. I did not have it anymore. I was like, wait, you gotta, I don't remember anything. Which I guess is fair. It's been over 30 years, but.
Yeah, that is the bad thing about video games, is your particular skill at a game will go away if you're not playing the game.
Yeah,
which quick. Is why the inferior gaming thing really works for me, because I will tend to like play many games at the same time, which is not good for being like capable at any of them. Like I'm bad at all of them at the same time.
This is
because I won't just concentrate.
Yeah, this is sort of the truth about our name, right? Like we love video games, but that does not necessarily mean we're good at them.
No, I'm really bad at them.
I have this vivid memory one time of my sister walking into the living room and seeing me playing Mass Effect. And she was like, oh, that was a nice headshot. And I was like, I was not aiming. That was a complete accident.
That was center of mass body.
I was like, I was like, aiming towards that body, but I was not trying for a headshot.
So a game that me and my oldest daughter play together, well, we haven't been playing it lately, but we did for a long time, is the Halo game,
right?
Or all of the Halo games, I guess. And we went to like an arcade thing for a birthday, and they had like a light gun shooter Halo game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, come on, let's go do this. And she's like, I don't know, Dad. And I was like, no, come on. They've got like the big gun, it like rattles in your hand, and the screen is like 6 foot tall, so it's like the aliens are coming right at you and stuff. I was like, come on, this will be cool. And we were playing it, and she was just like, like shooting grenades, dropping guys, like, filling their faces full of bullets. And I'm literally like shooting them in the toes. And she's like, what are you doing? Get it together. They're coming through the door. I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to reload. And she's like, just push this button. She like puts down her gun and pushes the button. She's like, I was like, oh, I thought you had to shoot off the screen. And she's like, now you're dead. That's what you get. So I'm just bad at all of the games.
But we love them.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your first video game? What was your story?
Okay, so like you said, I'm a little bit older, and maybe I can shed some light on why your parents don't care about video games.
Oh, I know why.
Because they're... Okay.
Don't worry. I know why they don't. I'm just shocked that we had video games.
Well, there was like this whole thing in the 70s of like everybody having, like a record player and a sound system and blah, 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 blah. Like if you were an adult, you should have like a TV and a stereo system and a sound, like a music system and all of this kind of stuff. And added to those home electronics was the Atari gaming system. And this was considered to be like, if you're an adult and you want to like, have people over for dinner and have parties and stuff like that, then having a gaming system is like part of being an adult, the same way as having a turntable.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's like how it was sold, right? And then Atari like blew up. Everybody had one for a while, and they just started making these really shitty, bad games because they're just trying to like, keep the money coming in, and they're not doing a good job of like having new quality releases. And the bottom fell out of that whole thing, and everybody was like, this Atari thing is trash. It's not cool. And actually, like, there was a big movement, to be like, oh, people who have video games are not serious people. So it's not cool to have it the way that having a good stereo system and all this kind of stuff was.
Right.
And so like that whole thing collapsed and went away. And then when the Nintendo comes over to America, they're like the common sense in the market, electronics market, was like, well, video games are a no-go because like people, we already know that like that's not cool. And so Nintendo was sold as a toy instead of a piece of like electronics.
Right. Yeah.
So it's marketed to children. And so like that's already like not appealing to adults. It was not cool to have it anyway because the Atari collapsed, and now it's like marketed to kids. And I think the other half of that equation that happens is that all toys need to be gendered. And so like you have like boy toys and girl toys, and you can't have crossover because like what if a boy touched a Barbie, or what if a girl touched a G.I. Joe? Everybody would turn out to be gay, right?
I feel like you just described my whole daycare experience, but go ahead.
And so I feel like the Nintendo was marketed as a boy's toy. So you had stuff like Duck Hunt, right? Where you're like, this is a hunting game, or like a lot of that stuff was just like geared towards boys. I feel like that first console, not that women or, girls didn't play the video games. Obviously they did, because we're doing this podcast.
We're both girls.
But I think for so long, gamer identity has been like male centric because of that choice in North America to market, because of Atari's collapse, to market towards boys as a toy.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, it just caused this whole gamer history identity thing. But anyway, since I'm old, my dad had an Atari because he was a cool adult who had a hi-fi stereo system and all of the stuff.
Right.
So he had an Atari, and we had a bunch of games. I was not really allowed to play with it. My mom would sneak me to the game, especially if my dad was not around. Then she would like plunk me down in front of it and be like, yeah, just whatever, do your thing. And so the game that I remember the most is probably one you've never heard of, but you probably have heard of who made it. This little startup company called Electronic Arts.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually became EA. Made this game called Realm of Impossibility. I put a link in here. It's a really terrible game, but like I was trying to figure out like what is this game, and I tracked it down because all I can remember is like the art on the cartridge, and then the and what the gameplay looked like. And if you like skip through that video a little bit, it makes this great sound whenever you walk. It's like it's terrible actually. And it's basically a dungeon crawler. Like you go through this game and you have to like find keys or puzzle pieces, and there's like zombies and snakes and monsters, and you can't really fight them. You just have to like get in there, get the thing that you need, and like you can block their ability to follow you and stuff, but you can't really like kill anything.
Interesting.
And everything on the Atari, everything just looks like bad Lego bricks. All of the animation is like really terrible, but that was all there was, back then. This was like the cutting edge of technology. And I played a bunch of, I remember my mom got me this game called Dr. Seuss Fix Up the Mix Up. And it was like a picture matching game where it was like, you'd have like the Grinch, and then it would like take the image and scramble it. And you'd have to like drag the pieces of the image back in the right order. My favorite game was called Kaboom.
Okay.
Which I think this was in the arcade too. And Kaboom has like, it's a single screen game. So like kind of like Donkey Kong, right? Or Pac-Man.
Okay.
So at the top of the screen, you've got this guy who looks something like they're trying to make an oval, but it's really like a square. And he looks something like the Hamburglar, like he's got black and white stripes. So obviously he's a criminal. And he is sliding from left to right across the top of the screen. And it looks like he's pooping out little bombs that are like, like a circle, but again, they're square. And they have like a little wick that's burning. And and they're falling down the screen, and then your character is just like a bucket of water, and you have to like catch the bombs before they hit the ground. And it gets faster and faster. The controller for that was like instead of the Atari like joystick button controller, it was like a dial. There was no button to push. So it was just like, like a dial that you move back and forth.
That makes sense.
And it would move like super fast because the game would get faster and faster the higher levels you would get. And I was like just a little autistic kid, just sit there for hours, and the screen would be like blurring with bombs, and I would be like at the bottom of the screen catching every single one of them. And I would do that for forever. And whenever whenever you missed and a bomb made it past you, it would hit the bottom of the screen and everything on the screen would freeze. And then each one of the bombs that was on the screen would go off, starting from the lowest one all the way up to the top. So it was this great like tut, 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 tut. That was like extremely satisfying to me when I was a kid. Like, even though I died, it was like, oh, look at it's like fireworks, like boom, 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 all over the screen.
Interesting.
So I loved that game. I would play that forever. But yeah, we had like River Raid, Empire Strikes Back, which was a terrible arcade game, terrible Atari game. But I was like, how do you win at the Empire Strikes Back? The secret is you can't win. It just goes on forever. You fight those four-legged, the AT-ATs or whatever they're called. Yeah, forever. You just can't win.
Oh.
Which maybe that's canonically correct. I don't know. But yeah, I played a lot of arcade games after that, because like I said, the Atari went away. It wasn't cool anymore. And so anytime we went anywhere with an arcade, those kind of games I was drawn to them. And so games like Gauntlet, I remember, where the game could talk. That was like mind blowing to me, where it was like Blue Elf needs a potion or something. I was like,
welcome. Elf needs food badly. Your life force is running out.
Wow, it talked. Incredible. Miss Pac-Man was a favorite of mine, Double Dragon, so.
The only place I ever played Pac-Man was in school, because we had computer lab days, and
oh, not like a stand-up arcade. I was like, wow, you had the coolest school ever.
No, we had a computer lab of old Macintosh computers, where we would do like typing games so that we would learn typing, and then after a bit you could just play whatever games they had. I'm probably like the only person ever who had this experience who did not play the Oregon Trail, because we did not have that game. I think Canada was uninterested in.
You didn't care about Manifest Destiny. Yeah.
But funny. We had Pac-Man, and we had like knockoff Pac-Man games that were like educational, where I don't remember how it worked, but like you had to eat the numbers in certain like addition sequences,
Oh my God, I remember this. Now you're saying this, like, oh my God.
And there was one with letters too. I don't remember how it worked or like what the educational goal was. But then we had regular Pac-Man too, because I remember playing that.
I definitely played a DOS version where so basically it was eating periods, and then like the maze was made of M dashes. And that kind of thing. Yeah. And then as I moved, so you couldn't move smoothly. You could only move like one arrow click at a time of the keyboard.
Oh.
Like holding down the arrow would not move you.
Oh, yes.
Continuously.
Yes.
You had to like
keep
tap.
Absolutely. The noise in that room must have been weird.
Oh, it was awful.
I don't remember. But then
you would change from like uppercase C to lowercase c, uppercase C to lowercase c. And so that's what I remember about. Yeah, I played the same kind of thing when I was a kid too.
And then eventually our Nintendo Entertainment System broke, and my parents would never replace or upgrade a video game thing. That's until, whatever. They just wouldn't. So we just didn't have video games then for years. Eventually we got our first computer, and that had some games on it. or we owned some games. Like, again, my parents would not buy a computer, so somebody must have given us this computer.
Right, is another Sears
or like my
display
dad
thing.
just knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a bunch of the hard floppy disks, not those classic actual floppy disks.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some weird... Oh, no. It must have just been on the computer, because I know to access the games, you had to go into the DOS. It had Windows on it, the first Windows. But somehow on the startup, you had to go into DOS. And I was, like, good at that back then. I would not be... I remember some years later trying to get back into it and being like, wait, I don't remember how to do this. But we had this one weird game that I loved. I loved it so much. We played as this lady... I want to say her name was Jill, and maybe that was the name of the game, where you were in like a forest or a jungle or something, and you could turn into animals. Like you turn into a fish to get up the river, and you could turn into... I have no memory of what that was, but it was fun.
Did it it had graphics?
Yeah, there was colors.
Okay.
This was like, this was in the 90s, in the early 90s, so it was pre, Windows 95. Before that, which
like
is
an early King's Quest game or something like that.
I swear it was called Jill something.
Mm-hmm.
I could be making that up though. I don't know. And then we had the very first Duke Nukem. At least I assume it was the very first. We had a Duke Nukem that was not great, but I played it a lot.
First person shooter.
It wasn't
on the PC.
Was it first person? I don't think it was though.
Oh, you're right.
Was like,
I think Duke Nukem is not first person, but it's 3D.
It was like Duke Nukem Mario Brothers. It was like a side scroller type of thing.
Oh, like Contra or something.
It was Duke Nukem. Hold on, I'm just Googling to see if I can see a picture of it. Oh, maybe not. Oh,
there was like
yeah. Now I'm looking it up. Yeah, it's very gray. Yeah, the side scroller there. Yeah, that's it. I spent a lot of time doing that. And then we had like Space Invaders type of thing, where you're just a ship going up and you're hitting the space bar a lot to fire on things.
Oh yeah, like Galaga
or something. Yeah,
type of
it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like we had River Raid as the same kind of thing. It's just like the scrolling background is a river instead of outer space.
Yeah. So for some years, those were the only games I played until we can talk later about how I actually discovered that I love video games.
Well, we got like my parents got divorced when I was in second grade. We went with my dad, and so when I started third grade, I was living with my dad, and before Christmas, he had bought the Nintendo Entertainment System because he was like a guilty single dad with 2 boys. And so he was like, this will make them happy. I can remember he had this weird like plastic tube that was like almost exactly the size of a quarter.
Okay.
And he would take his change, his quarter change, and put it in this tube, and it would like the coins would kind of flip down slowly, and it would make this like very satisfying plastic tube noise, like kind of noise. And I would steal those quarters constantly to play arcade games.
Oh, okay.
At various places. He had to be sly about it. I'm sure that he knew what was happening to his coins. But maybe he got tired of that and bought an NES. But yeah, I played Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt all the time once he got that. And then eventually we got The Legend of Zelda, which was mind-breakingly good.
Nah.
The original Legend of Zelda.
Because we never continued on with Nintendo after the first entertainment system, I never played Zelda until Breath of the Wild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because that just wasn't... Because like I said, my parents would never.
Mm-hmm. So you never had like the SNES?
No SNES, no Game Boy, no anything. I did not own another piece of Nintendo equipment until the Switch.
It's weird you would have Mario Brothers 3 but not Zelda, because I feel like Mario Brothers 3 was at the end of the console's life.
Again, I don't think my parents bought these. I think they were
they got it like at the end.
They just got what was given to them. I certainly my sister and I didn't have any say in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would get games as gifts sometimes, but I couldn't afford. Games were expensive back then.
They're still expensive now. We're just adults.
Yeah. Well, I think for back then, the prices were close to the same. So like there were Nintendo games that cost like $60, $70, wow. And that's back in like, 80s, 90s.
Yeah,
money.
my parents
so they
would
were
never.
pretty hefty. Yeah. They were, in a way, they were more expensive than they are now. But yeah, I remember I must have been in 4th grade, and we went to the store, and I would always go to the, like, whatever part of the store is where they sell video games, which was like somewhere between the toy part and the electronic part, which was basically what a Nintendo was. And they had everything behind glass, and there was this one game there that I was like, what is that? That looks so cool. Because I was the idiot who judged a book by its cover all the time.
No, see, here's the thing. But like, if the publisher thinks it's going to be big, they're going to put money into the marketing, and the cover is just marketing. Like, you should judge a book by its cover.
That's funny because like a lot of the Nintendo covers were terrible, right?
Oh like like the old Final Fantasy covers. Oh wow.
Well, I'm thinking specifically of the Nintendo, like Nintendo Golf, for example, or like they literally look like, here's pixelated Mario holding a golf club.
To be fair,
and it says golf.
To be fair, how do you advertise golf to children? Like, if you've decided Nintendo is for kids and then a golf game comes up, how do you be like, right? How do we make children want to buy that?
Well, it's funny what you said, because the thing that I'm talking about is the first Final Fantasy.
Of course.
It was like, it looks like a crystal ball, and then below it, it had like an axe and a sword kind of cradling the crystal ball. And then inside the crystal ball, you could see like a city in the clouds, and it just said Final Fantasy in these big red letters. And I was like, what does that mean? What is this? It looks amazing. And I whined enough that my mom bought it for me for the summer. And that's like all I did was play Final Fantasy, the first Final Fantasy, which is an impossible fucking game. It's so goddamn hard, especially if you're like a 4th grade stupid kid in America with like no access to the internet or Nintendo Power. Like the internet didn't exist, of course, but like it was so hard.
So my story continues, in that when my sister was 16, 17, something like that, she got a job. And one of the very first things she did with her own money was buy a used PlayStation and a bunch of used games.
Nice.
And I played some of the games. There was like a racing game that she bought and some other stuff. And I was like, because for me, that's what video games were, It was like Mario Brothers or that type of thing. You didn't, there wasn't plot, in my head, because I had never experienced that before.
Well, it's very rare back then.
Well, not at this point, I think, but before that, yes.
No, for PlayStation, yeah, but in the Nintendo era, it was pretty hard to find that.
And on our limited gaming computer, because once we got like a up-to-date computer, that one didn't have any games on it or anything, and I didn't really know how to buy computer games or anything. Anyways, it was a whole thing. But eventually, we had this PlayStation, and then one summer we were spending 2 weeks like in a cottage by a lake, because when you grow up in Toronto, you get out of the city during the summer because it's a humid soup ball, right?
Right.
It's terrible. Toronto sucks during the summer. So you get out. And my sister brought her PlayStation, and she was in the middle of a game, and at one point we were all just like in the, the living room area of this cottage by a lake, and she was playing it, and it had story, and it had cool fantasy elements and all these things, and I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? What is happening? And then the minute we got home, I was like, can I play this game? And she was like, yeah, just don't save over my save, which I actually did do eventually and had to play a lot to catch her up. But anyways, let's not talk about that and how she almost killed me. But that game was Legend of Dragoon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that was my very first RPG. And the thing that started then and is still happening to this day, because my sister and I live together, we're roommates, is that whenever I would find a game, like on the internet or in a magazine or something that I was interested in, Megan would already have it.
Nice.
So
you don't even have to.
It was so great. And this happens to this day. I will just go and look at our shelves and be like, oh, there's the game. Or I'll think to myself, oh, that sounds like a fun game to play. And then Megan will be like, it's on the Switch. You can just play it. I'm like, oh, great. Bought it digitally. Wonderful. So yeah, I played Legend of Dragoon. And then she just had Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. Although for some reason I didn't play them right away. And she had Xenogears, which I think I did play right away. I genuinely don't remember what my next game was after Legend of Dragoon, but that Christmas was when Final Fantasy IX was released in North America.
Okay.
I think it came out in June in Japan, and then it did like a November Christmas release for North America. Mm-hmm. And my dad bought it for me for Christmas, which is the only time somebody has bought me a video game that I wanted. Yeah. And he bought the, this is funny, he bought the guidebook for it too, but if you remember the Final Fantasy IX guidebook, it's a piece of shit.
It is garbage.
It's just like,
yeah, I think I have it.
I did not keep it, but it's literally just an advertisement for their website.
Yeah, it's constantly like go to the Prima, or I don't, well, it was a Prima thing, but yeah. It's constantly like go to
Final Fantasy Online for more information about this.
That's what it was.
Or whatever, yeah. So that's funny that that's the one guidebook that was bought for me by a parent. Not the only one I've ever owned, but you know, it was just funny. And so then I played Final Fantasy IX, and then I played 8, and then I played 7. I don't know why. That's just how it happened. The whole time, I heard so much about how good 7 was. Like, because by this point we had internet. It was dial-up, but you know, we had internet, and I would look up video games and what, you know what I mean. I had access to information.
Yeah. Fandom for 7 was huge.
Yeah,
then.
And you just heard so many good things about it being like the best game ever, and I was really excited to get to it, and then I was extremely let down. I probably would have liked it more if I hadn't heard about it being the best game ever, but I didn't like the characters as much as the ones in 8 and 9. The only character that I really like dies. And I don't think anybody dies in 8 and 9. So I didn't think it was
not permanently.
And her death was spoiled for me before I got to it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, it was like the biggest.
Yeah. So then I stopped leveling her up because I was just like, well, fuck that then. But then you have a boss fight near the end where you have to have her. And I didn't know about like save scumming then, so I just had one save file. So I couldn't.
Oh my god!
I couldn't go back to level her up.
What a nightmare.
I was just stuck, and I had to do this. I think it's on a train or something. I don't remember. And I had to do this boss fight like 20 goddamn times because she was like 10 levels below everybody else. Oh, it was so bad.
It's funny because she's there for most of the game. Like she's very usable for a lot of.
Yeah, but I was angry.
So you were just like, nah, not worth it.
So angry.
If someone will die one day, why bother?
Well, and she was my favorite. I loved her so much, and.
Yeah.
I was so upset, and I just don't think I ever got over how upset I was about that. And then, like, the story was good, and the reveals and everything, and obviously, the whole, like, menacing presence of Sephiroth, like, that is master. That is a masterpiece. I will admit that. You know how, like, they slowly introduce him in the original?
Oh, he's great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But everything else was, I just... Like, after Aerith died, I just didn't give a shit. I was like, what do you mean? Like, she's like the last of her kind, and then you kill her? What?
Yeah, they're extinct now.
I was so upset.
Goodbye, ancients.
I was so upset.
Well...
And I truly did not give a single shit about any of the other characters. They had nothing going on for me. And then you get stuck on that stupid submarine quest. Oh, I hated that.
The submarine's hard. It's very hard.
So anyways, I finished the game and I was like, Oh, we don't even get like a fun epilogue to see what happened to them. Cool.
Yeah, you don't know. It just ends. Yeah.
And I was so
over.
disappointed. And to this day, I like when the first remake came out, I was like, I like maybe I'll play this. And then because my life is as I've explained it, my sister bought it. So I was like, great. Now I can just play it and I don't have to give them any of my money.
So you never watched the movie?
Oh no, I absolutely did. Don't get me wrong. I am still a Final Fantasy fan. And
yeah.
There, in the trailers, like for Advent Children, you saw some Aerith, and I was like, I gotta find out what's happening to my girl, you know?
Almost nothing.
Yeah, almost nothing.
Almost nothing. Yeah. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. We have that in common, but I am not. I appreciate 7 and all of that, but it's not even close to my favorite. I think it has all kinds of problems. So I was being quiet to be like, let you do your thing and not be like, oh my God, I can't believe this blasphemy. Like, I kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying.
I'm trying hard to not turn this into let's talk about Final Fantasy for an hour, because I feel
we'll do that a different time.
Yeah, we'll do that a different time. Or we'll do it on individual games, because I could talk about how Final Fantasy X changed my life, you know, forever. But that was just to backtrack, I guess, a bit. Legend of Dragoon and then the PlayStation era RPGs, or JRPGs, I guess. That was sort of how I found that I loved video games and that I wanted, you know, and that's when I started playing them to a disturbing amount, you know, like my mother worried for me for how much time I was spending in the basement during the summer.
Right.
You know, that type of thing.
Are you ever going to come outside? No. Who needs that?
I vividly recall, so I never really understood the battle system in Final Fantasy VIII the first time I played it.
There are people to this day who don't understand.
Yeah. I understand it a lot better now, obviously, because I've played the game like 5 times. But I have this vivid memory of doing that final boss fight like 10,000 times.
It's super hard.
And at one point, you know, it's just getting to be like 2 a.m, and you're like, maybe you should just do this fresh, but you're so frustrated. You just gotta keep going. It would be like
you would beat it and fall asleep anyway.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even see the end.
And I had like the PlayStation controller in my hand, and I almost like I was squeezing it and twist like I was gonna break this controller, and I just had to drop it and be like, okay, deep breath, you got this. And I did eventually finish the game, but holy crap. Yeah, and then you have 40 minutes of end and you're like, I am falling asleep. Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't watch this. This is a movie. Nobody told me.
But anyways.
And back then you couldn't do anything about it. You couldn't like watch it again. You couldn't like...
You would have to do the fight again. And I certainly wasn't doing that.
Yeah. Like we said, we're bad at the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was... I don't know. I think when I was a kid, it was... So I just didn't know that nobody knew that about autism or anything like that. So I was just an annoying kid. I was told that all the time. And like other kids didn't like me. I knew that. And my parents would be like, the problem is you just hang out with adults too much. And so you can't relate to other kids. And so like if I was in the house, then I was a problem and I was annoying. My parents would be trying to do stuff and I would just be like following them around and they would be like, you're in the way, go away. So video games were a thing that I could do. When they were home. That's fair.
What Gen X? What Gen X are you? Like my parents were never home.
It was like when my parents were together, my mom was like a stay-at-home mom. And then once they got divorced, I never saw either of them again. Yeah. That was the latchkey kid for sure.
Oh, 100%. The shit
and
I
games,
was doing on the internet would make my mom die if she had any idea, probably.
They were the babysitter, the video games, you know, it was a thing that was safe and would keep me quiet and keep me in the house that they could put in front of me. And I would do that forever. So I don't know. For me, it was like a comfortable way to, like, I wouldn't get in trouble if I was playing a game. Like you said, your mom was worried about you. My parents were like not worried because I was playing video games. And I think specifically it was when I got that Final Fantasy game. I remember, so it was a different era back then when you would get the like manual, the books that came.
Yes. The little
in the,
like they weren't guidebooks, but they were like, you got like character descriptions and control, like what the controls did and stuff.
A lot of information that just wasn't in the game at all. And like there was art in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that Final Fantasy game was like that. It had a lot of extra stuff in the manual. And then there was also a map of the world.
Oh, that's
in there
interesting.
That, yeah, it would like fold out really big. And on the other side of the world map was a full bestiary of every monster in the game.
Oh, and so, that's cool.
Yeah, with like stats and stuff. So like you got, and the art in those games, and I think always for Final Fantasy, the art has been top notch for whatever era you're talking about.
Has Amano been doing character design since the beginning?
Like since I know part one.
I know he has been, because I know he definitely did some character designs like on some of the re-releases, but I wasn't sure if he was there from the beginning.
He even designed like I think the iconic monsters that you would think of that, you know, happen throughout the series.
Okay.
So like the Marlboro, you know.
God, I hate the Marlboro.
Yeah, they're terrible. And they're in that first game. But all of the, like the imps and all of that stuff. He basically did all the art. And then the stuff that's actually in the game, he didn't do that. They, did pixelated adaptations of his art. So it was as close as they could get, which, yeah, they don't look great now. And there wasn't really a whole lot going on, to be honest. Like the screen is mostly black. There's not really any animations that are happening when you're inputting commands. They're just like the little character will walk forward 2 steps and then walk backwards 2 steps. And there's like a little snarl of pixels that hits the enemy, which also just sits still and doesn't do anything. There wasn't even background back then.
Yeah.
It was like a strip across the top of the screen would tell you like you're in a forest or whatever. But to me, like my parents had just gotten divorced. So that was like a pretty painful, confusing thing. And like I said, I would just get yelled at all the time if I was underfoot and like I try to hang out with other kids and I didn't fit in. So like sitting here trying to figure out this very confusing Japanese game where I have this map unfolded and there's like this gigantic, like that's a promise of all kinds of content, right? There's like, look at all these monsters, look at all these places, and I'm gonna figure out how to do this.
Yeah, and I think
on my own.
The developers of this is definitely turning into Final Fantasy podcast, but whatever. The developers have talked about how that was what they wanted. They wanted the world to be big and for there to be something to discover everywhere. Yeah.
It definitely felt that way when I was a kid. And so for me, like being able to I was safe. It was a thing that I could do. Like I was making those discoveries. I was winning those, like nobody could take that away from me was how I felt.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you couldn't look stuff up. So like I had to figure it out on my own. And it made me feel this sense of accomplishment and I felt safe. And so to me, that was like, video games helped me cope with this confusing childhood where I generally otherwise did not feel safe or accomplished, which is funny because like this whole thing is like, we're bad at video games, but it was like the kind of thing where, well, I didn't do it. I can just try again until I do it. And it didn't always feel like I had that in real life, like you'd go out on the gym court and they would be like, today we're shooting basketballs. And I would be like, well, I did it bad 2 times. And the gym teacher comes and like takes away the ball and is like, just go sit down, Alan. Like you're never going to be good. Just go away.
But like video games, you could be bad alone in your basement, like it's different. Nobody was watching me lose that Final Fantasy VIII boss fight over and over and over again. And I don't talk about it much. It's been 20 years, however long it's been, 25 years. And I talk about it now. I wasn't telling people back then. So being bad at video games was just kind of your own thing. That's when you were talking about arcades, I did mean to mention that I've always disliked arcades for that exact reason. Because you're in the public and they can see how bad you are. But I've had friends who enjoyed arcade games in a different time period than you, obviously, because I'm younger. And we would play some arcade games when we were teenagers and early 20s. Mostly Soul Calibur. We played a lot of Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, the 3D fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but some of my friends just really loved Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur is fun, man.
Well, I don't care for it, but I got sucked in just because it's what we were doing. And so, yes, we're playing Soul. I hate fighters. They're not for me.
That's the early you're talking about the Soul Calibur in the arcade or like on the Dreamcast, early 2000s?
We definitely played it in the arcade. And this would have been, early 2000s. And then we played it in a friend's house. So one of my friends definitely owned it. But I don't know what system. The only thing I really remember playing at her place was the Wii. Was there a Soul Calibur on the Wii?
Oh, yeah, eventually. Sure.
So it was probably that one.
Mm-hmm. Maybe like Soul Calibur 2, I think, had an exclusive... It was like there was an exclusive character on the PlayStation, the Nintendo, and the Xbox, depending on which versions you got. So you could play as Link in the well, that was like a GameCube though. So I don't know.
Yeah, my PS2 also spent a lot of time at that friend's house because I forced her to play all the Final Fantasy games. Like we played them together. She would play and I would just sort of also be there. Coach. I don't know. It was great. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fudgesicles and played video games. Great.
I think that's the other part of like what is your origin where it changed from like a thing to a like a passion. So like I felt safe and all that stuff playing the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But eventually it was a thing that I was able to bond with other kids my age about.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And we would sit there and pass the controller back and forth and beat those games together. And that was like a whole different journey that was really important to me.
Yeah. I remember this particular like summer that I spent playing video games with this friend. I forced her, this is probably not nice of me, but I forced her to play Kingdom Hearts, the first one. Well, and the second one, I guess.
Okay.
And the final boss fight, I just remember I would be sitting there watching her health and I would just yell out heal when she needed to heal. And she would just be button bashing in that final fight against the white hair guy.
Xehanort or whoever.
Yeah, I don't even remember which one it was.
Yeah. I think that's actually what you need in that game.
Yeah.
There's so many UI problems in that game. By the time the alarm goes off, you're dead. It's too late, especially in that fight.
For that last fight, yeah. So that's a lot of fun. And like this is also the group of friends that I like browbeat into getting into anime with me. And so I probably owe them a lot of apologies.
You're like corrupting everyone. Yeah. I think that's true too. The playing these kind of games and the Nintendo system out of Japan and PlayStation games and stuff like that, there was like an appreciation or like a curiosity of Japanese culture that led me to anime and manga, and that outsider feeling that I had that the games made me feel safe about. I carried that over into that subculture as well. where it felt very outsidery to be into anime and manga.
Yeah,
at the
definitely.
time when I
In
got
the
into it.
90s and early 2000s, heck yes.
Yeah.
But my journey into anime was completely separate. It had nothing to do with video games. I didn't even realize the games I was playing were Japanese until later, and that they had like similar tropes and stuff to anime.
Right.
That I had no idea when I picked up.
Yeah,
the
it was just a
JRPGs.
pathway of internet porn for you, and you were like, "This is just how it works."
No,
I don't know.
no, I was just a young girl who watched Sailor Moon, and
Yeah,
actually, my first
Sailor Moon was the best.
Yeah, my first anime was actually Samurai Pizza Cats, but
I don't even know what that is.
maybe it was only
like
dubbed in
Canada.
No, maybe it was only dubbed in Canada. I don't remember. I'm sure it was nothing like the original Japanese one, and I don't remember what the original Japanese name is, but I don't know. It was like cat superheroes that lived in a pizza parlor.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, I guess they were samurais. I don't know. I don't remember that one. I didn't like that. I just know that was my first anime. It didn't like lead me down the hole. Sailor Moon was the one that led me down the hole.
Some Korean developer like saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and was like, we could do that. Come on. Let's make them cats. They love pizza. Kids love pizza. Let's just do this. We got it. That's really funny.
Oh, they have
ever heard of that.
like Astro Boy looking suits. I just Googled it. It's interesting.
Cool.
Anyways, unimportant, not video game related, but still, well, kind of video game related, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like they're next door to each other, especially for the era that we grew up in.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
For a really long time, I only played JRPGs. I had no real understanding of Western RPGs. Didn't care about them at all. I was strictly a JRPG person, but it wasn't even like it was a rule. I just assumed that was the only
story
RPG.
Games were.
Yeah, that they were Japanese. And it wasn't until 2014, I guess, that I played my first Western RPG, and that took a lot of badgering from a coworker of mine who knew that I liked video games, and this is when I worked at a bookstore, and so she just knew the type of stories that I was into, and she was like, you have to play Dragon Age. You have to play Dragon Age. You have to play Dragon Age. And she showed me clips and told me over and over and over again, and luckily, my sister owned them all, so...
Oh, of course.
It's a common theme in my video game journey. So I just went home and started playing Dragon Age Origins on PS3, I guess, at that point. And
so by then, multiple of them would have been out.
Yeah, so it was on her mind because this was just as Inquisition came out. And
oh man, so you just got to rip through them.
So my sister was playing Inquisition and I started Origins. But my sister's into MMOs. So, and like when you're in with I don't think she would ever say a guild, but like a group, you know, there are certain things you have to play and you have to do. So
yeah, it's like a job. You have to be there at a certain time and everything. Yeah.
So she can't anyways, what this means is she was already playing Inquisition when I started Origins, and I finished Inquisition before she did.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to, you didn't have to go through the whole fandom thing of Dragon Age 2 and people.
No, but I mean,
losing their minds.
I played Origins and then 2 and was like, what the heck? I definitely had the same experience. Although I recently replayed 2 and I had so much more fun with it just as its own thing, and knowing the development cycle that happened there and how, they really only had 2 years for it, and
yeah, it's very different.
Yeah. So I understood it, and I really liked it for what it was. Inquisition is my favorite.
Interesting.
And then after I played that, I did sort of discover Western RPGs, and that's been a whole journey.
I think I've been very diverse the whole time, because to me, it was all just like video games, and I didn't have a hard preference for different things. So I was playing Castlevania and Mario Brothers,
right?
But also racing games, and like you said, these were all just, that's what video games are. And to me, it was Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, those were all just also video games.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like a big difference in my mind.
I think because I had that big gap and it was like a plot driven game that got me back into video games, like that's all I really care to play now for the most part. It took the pandemic basically because all my friends were playing Animal Crossing. So I was like, well, may as well give it a try. And which is a stupid thing to say about a $100 game, but I mean, my sister owned it already, so it was fine. I just had to get my own Switch instead of a shared one, which I just got a used one. So, but then I got into that whole scene, I guess, from that. So like Stardew Valley, which you could argue doesn't really have a plot. And
I guess there's many storylines. It's like,
but like you can ignore it. You don't have to do it. You know, it's not like Dragon Age or Final Fantasy game where you have to do the plot.
Right. Or where it will definitely go in a certain direction. Like Stardew, it's just kind of whatever you make of it.
Yeah.
I guess Animal Crossing too. You just be like, I'm just in debt to this raccoon forever, I guess. I don't know.
I will forever. This is like the most pompous anime nerd thing ever. But I am forever upset that they call them raccoons and not tanuki in the Western release. Like, people understand that different countries have different animals. We can just call them tanuki. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, why are we calling them raccoons? They're a different animal.
I think for a very long time, I thought a tanuki was a mythological creature, not like an animal.
Is that just because of Ghibli?
I don't know. I know the first time I heard tanuki was in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and I was like, well, obviously these walking mushrooms are not real. And so like,
yeah, that's fair.
That tanuki's not real either. But yeah, that's funny. See, that's funny because I think when I think of you, I think of those kind of games and the RPGs. To me, they're like co-equal to you.
Oh yeah,
but it was something you only kind of tripped into
when I got in deep. That
okay,
yeah. I'm not.
So you weren't like playing Rune Factory or something like that. Like 20 years ago. Rune Factory is very like Stardew.
Yeah, no.
Kind of thing.
I have not done a Rune Factory, but I think we have a couple because of my sister.
Yeah, I've tried to play that stuff. It stresses me out. All of the like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, all of it. It makes me feel very stressed out, which I think is the exact opposite of the entire
100%.
genre.
Well, I don't know. See, I've heard people sort of have to force themselves to not get stressed out about this, and I'm like, just don't be stressed. Which is a stupid thing to say
just
after.
Don't feel stressed.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
But I just described that whole Final Fantasy VIII experience I had, so like. It's not like pot and kettle, but that's sort of how I do it. I just although now when I play Stardew, I play it on my PC and I just mod out the fishing game because you know what? I've gotten to Ginger Island on my Switch, and I'm like, great, I'm done. I never have to fish again. Fuck that fishing game. And also, I don't know what it is about fishing, but it's in goddamn everything, and I hate it.
Oh yeah. I think you can thank Japanese people for that.
I feel like I was playing Final Fantasy 15. There's fishing in that game. Why is there fishing?
Yeah, a lot of fishing. A lot of fishing.
Persona 4, there's fishing in Persona 4 Golden. I don't know about the original. I think it was only in Golden. I could be wrong. There's fishing in Three Houses. What's the series name?
Oh, Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, there's fishing in that. Why? Why am I fishing? But it just seemed for a while there I was fishing in everything. And now whenever somebody's like, there's fishing, I'm like, please die.
Stop it.
Stop the fishing. I don't ever want to catch a fish again in my life.
That's funny.
That basically takes us to today, where I play RPGs and what is now called cozy games.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about like how Stardew, you were like, it doesn't have like, there's no linear progression and now you're at the end and you're fighting God and all of this stuff. And I think that's what makes me not stressed out when I play a Final Fantasy game or like a Dragon Age is that the story has a shape already and that I am just like going along for the ride and I'm not like steering the experience. And I think that's what stresses me out is that I have to decide, am I going to plant corn or zucchini? And am I going to like, stay on top of that where I can cultivate it enough to have Lucy fall in love with me? And, like, I'm like, but what about Rebecca? Like I can't handle that. I don't like that in real life. I just want a job to do and I'll go do the job.
Right.
Don't give me choices.
That reminds me that when my coworker first tried to get me into Dragon Age, I was so against it because it had choices. I was like, the story doesn't feel real to me if I can change it. Like I play a game to experience the story. Gameplay and everything, that's secondary to me. I want a good story. And I thought I would hate it. And I fully went into playing Dragon Age Origins thinking I was going to hate it. And obviously I ended up loving it. But I don't know. It still kind of bothers me. Like, obviously I play games with choices now, but I like being told a story, I guess. I don't know.
Do you care about the kind of like those games link up with each other in ways, but do you care about how superficial that is? Or do you like that it doesn't
I cared about it,
your choice?
I cared about it in Veilguard, certainly, when it was like, we don't care about anything.
Yeah. Those like, other games, whatever. Those are for old heads.
Oh my God. And also, Veilguard seems to only care. You know what? Let's not. Let's not. Just to put it out there, I enjoyed Veilguard as a game. I don't think it was a great Dragon Age game, but it had great battle, fun, like good graphics. I loved designing my character.
Really beautiful. Yeah.
It had a lot of pluses. It just also had a lot of not what I wanted it to be in the series. And that's like not the developer's fault at all. That was, when you hear about how that game came to be, it is stupid.
Oh, I mean, it's EA.
It's EA. It
bothered me in those games though. I was like, why are you making a sequel and you're like, oh, make sure you play it on the same system because we're going to access your save and things will happen because of that. And then I was like, they didn't happen. Like, okay, I got some armor and you kind of like my person showed up for a little bit, but it really didn't matter to the story you're telling. And I understand that like, that's a really, really difficult thing that I'm expecting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it always bothered me. I wanted there to be more like follow through on those choices through the games, but I don't know how you do that.
Depending on on some of your choices, there was big changes in Dragon Age Inquisition about depending on what your choices were in Origins. Maybe not for you because you don't care about Alistair, right?
Oh no. Well, in my canonical playthrough, I mean, I did every variation of Dragon Age Origins because I really loved that game.
Right, yeah.
That you could possibly do. So I saw everything in that game. But yeah, in my canonical playthrough, he died. So yeah, I think in the Mass Effect games, your choices have bigger consequences that have more follow through to the subsequent games. You can make choices in 1 that will resonate through 2 and 3.
Oh yeah.
And I think I just wanted that more in that series.
I've definitely like seen video compilations of like the saddest scenes in Mass Effect 3 or whatever, and then somebody's dying and I'm like, how do you get that character to die? Like what? Yeah, and like I don't even know how that happens.
You can kill somebody in 1 and then like the whole character is like in 2 and 3 also, and you just never see them because you made that choice in 1. So I kind of like that. If you're gonna do that kind of thing, I like the commitment.
The specific character I'm talking about is Miranda, and I was like, I genuinely do not know how to get her to die in Mass Effect 3. That's never happened for me. I've played the Mass Effect trilogy 3 times probably, and I'm like, how does this happen? What did you do to kill her in 3? I get maybe she could die in 2. I don't even know what choices you have to make for that to happen. But I I'm always trying to play a good person. Which, whatever. Maybe I need to branch out sometimes.
Oh, well, I think we'll talk about that more because obviously we care about the BioWare games. We could talk about that sometime. But I had like an entire existential freak out playing Mass Effect.
Oh, interesting.
That fundamentally changed the way that I approach games like that because I became so unhappy playing Mass Effect 1 that I was like, I have to think about video games differently that are like this because I am hurting myself. So it was.
That's hilarious because like I was saying, when I went into BioWare games, I was like, choices make the story less real because you can change it and it can be something different, or you can replay it and do it different. Not that Mass Effect 1 is a game where I play exactly the same every single time.
Why would you make this other choice?
Yeah, like I want this person to live and I want this person to live, so I gotta do these things. Like,
right.
I enjoy what we've chosen to spoil and not spoil in this game, in this discussion. But that's the thing about BioWare and other games like that. Is it a spoiler if you can make a different choice and not have it happen?
Well, that was part of the wild stuff of when those games were coming out and you would talk to other people. Like if you're not sitting in a living room all together, making those choices together and like kind of talking over like, wait a minute, should we do this or this? And like, why? If you talk to other people and you'd be like, well, my shepherd is blah, 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 blah. And be like, I didn't even know you could do that. Like how is that person alive and this person dead? Like, and that was a really, really cool thing about those games, I think at the time. And maybe something that I don't think even exists anymore in games. Like, I think games have become more linear and less like you can do your own thing over time. I don't know. I got partway into Veilguard and I dropped out to play Expedition 33, so I haven't gone back to it. So
yeah, well,
I don't know how
I don't think
malleable
Veilguard's
that game
a good because just of how the development went and how EA seems to have it out for Dragon Age, even though it's the better selling, whatever. I don't think Veilguard's a good.
It's not like the rest of the series, yeah.
Or just a good snapshot of what games are right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've recently gotten into like isometric CRPGs, and there's so many choices you can make, right? Because a lot of them don't have. Well, they have some voice acting, but they're not all voice acted. And when there's not voice acting, you can do so much more choices. And also, Baldur's Gate 3. So many choices in Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Just because neither of us played / enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't mean that it's not very important on the video game scene.
Yeah, I still haven't played it. That game, so I tend to come to games late, and it's and I keep like whenever the price goes down, maybe I'll get it, and the price just has not.
Yeah,
budged.
no, it's pricey.
So.
And my sister bought it, which is going to be a theme, and right. So I played up until the beginning of Act 3, and I realized I just didn't care.
Oh no! So you didn't finish it?
So I didn't finish it.
Interesting.
Maybe one day when it's cheap on my PC, I'll buy it again and try again. But
it's funny. I went out and bought Veilguard, and now, like I said, I kind of put it down and was playing something else. And now I think it's on Game Pass, which is what always happens to me.
Yep.
Like I'll buy something, I won't finish it. It'll go on Game Pass, and then I complete it. It's like I could have just waited, but whatever.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's our origins.
Yeah, I think we
talked about Dragon Age origins anyway. That's what this turned into.
I think we just reached modern day, so that's how we got to where we are. Obviously, we've missed things in the middle, and we probably could have talked about Final Fantasy for 2 more hours, but we gotta save something for next week. So, since we've reached modern day, what are we playing right now?
Well, we've been playing the same thing because we were talking about it to each other quite a bit. I don't think either of us is playing it quite as much. Well,
I'm in the middle of 4 games right now, which is not how I like to live my life. But what keeps happening is I start a game and I'm either not feeling it or I find out something about the game and then I'm like, ugh, I don't want to play it then. But like I do want to play it. I just got to get over this one stupid. Anyways, so I started Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yeah.
And then I found out that there's no romance, and I was upset because that's one of the things that I love about the Persona games, and this is basically
interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
And so I was upset, so I put it down. And then I started playing the Warhammer Rogue Trader, and that makes my
weird.
Yeah, whatever.
I would not have guessed that.
That makes my computer run at like a very hot temperature, and it is so hot here right now that I was like, I gotta wait for cooler weather to do this one because I am melting, and so is my computer. And that is an isometric CRPG, and those are usually pretty not like taxing on my computer, but it was turning it into a heater. So anyways, so that one's just on pause until it's cooler. I'm playing the pixel remaster of Final Fantasy VI because I've never played Final Fantasy VI because that was an SNES game. And I think it was also on the Game Boy maybe, or one of the Game Boys, which are just systems I never had, right? So I bought that.
Oh, much later. Yeah.
I bought that on Steam, and you know what, technically it was in Final Fantasy Anthology, which I did have, but for some reason I just never played it on my PlayStation, even though I went out, I specifically bought it to play anyways, doesn't matter.
I have that too, the PS1 Anthology thing.
Yeah, with that had, I think, 5 and 6 on it.
Yeah.
Who knows what I was thinking.
It's not the same version.
Yeah.
It is different.
So I'm playing that. And then also, I've technically finished Expedition 33, but I haven't done all the side stuff. So sometimes I pull that up and then remember that you really have to be on your game for that game. And it's been a couple months since I finished it, and I have forgotten how to parry.
Yeah.
So
that's the one I keep texting you about, because you finished it. I feel like you finished it really fast.
Oh yeah, I was locked in on that game. I was going to work, and then I was playing Expedition 33. That was my whole life, and then until I finished it.
I had a hard time with it. I got into Act 3, and I felt so emotionally down from what happens that I couldn't play it for a couple weeks. And then I came back to it, and I have dug to the point where like my characters are almost level 90 something. It can handle just about anything. I am bad at the game still, and I'm pretty good at parrying, but I'm bad at the actual building of characters.
Yeah.
I think there was like a while where I was like, why am I having such a hard time? I'm like level 88. And these things are still killing me just the same way they were when I was level 70. And then I looked and I was like, well, I had never actually spent any of my level up points. So that's why.
And of the like Lumina points or whatever?
Well, no, statistically, I was still 77 because you have to actually like upgrade things.
Oh, yes,
with
yes,
your points.
Yes.
But like technically I was like level 80 something. They just had like 25 points sitting there not being spent on anything. So when I leveled everybody up and redid the Pictos and everything, then I was like, oh, this game's easy now. Because you're an idiot who doesn't actually take the time to do your shit. So like, yeah, I've been playing that, which is obviously a instant classic, amazing game. And then I've been playing, there's Mortal Kombat 1, which is like a reboot of the entire series, sort of. And I just like the goofy story of that. I always play the story mode of those games because it's just goofy. And I've been following that for a very long time, since my childhood. And it's fun to play through the story mode and like all the little Easter eggs and stuff that they have always had in there. And to replay basically the story of Mortal Kombat 1, the original game, in like it's like watching an animated movie, but you can control it. It's pretty fun.
That's what I love about a JRPG, that it's a movie, but you control it.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like a goofy kung fu movie, and then when the fight happens, then it's like, now you're in control of the fight, and then once you win, it goes back to the story. just last night I started playing another game called Blueprints. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yeah. I've heard really good things. I'm waiting for it to go on sale before. Oh, it's on Game Pass now, isn't it?
It's on Game Pass. That's why.
Oh God, I don't want to start another game.
I didn't get the like Blueprints is like a ruler of a land who is a particular color. But then with the obvious thing that it is like a blueprint of a house.
Yeah.
Because that's the main mechanic of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a roguelike, which I don't.
Yeah, they're not
enjoy.
really my type of thing. Like I've never played Hades or something, even though other than it being a roguelike, I think it would be right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like the idea of it, of you have to lose to get further. And I'm like, that sounds dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But
it works. They make it work in this, and there's no combat, which I like.
This sounds more like you have to figure out all the clues to get the puzzle right type of thing, and that intrigues me more.
Yeah. It's interesting, and it does like exploration, which is a big thing that I really care about in games. So yeah, I just started doing it. I played like I think 5 run-throughs of it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So it's I'll probably keep going with that. I might be done with Expedition 33. I might just like at this point, because I beat the game, but like I said, I'm to the point where I don't think I'm ever going to be good enough to beat the super bosses. And I might just like look stuff up at this point to answer questions.
If I do it, I do want those little like I know you get good like background for some of the characters and how the expedition started on that. And so I am interested in all that. And I've been like, I get spoiled for so much on TikTok, you know? And I'm not like against it because it's a good enough story that the spoilers are fine. You know what I mean? You know, if something is spoiled for me, it's still a good story. So it doesn't really matter.
I agree. But it still sucks. It's still like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like I'm surprised about how much of the game I didn't know when I got to it. That's one of the reasons I played it so fast, right? Because I didn't want social media to... Because I could feel all the like end game conversations starting and I wasn't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear everybody's takes before I get there.
And you were texting me being like, what is happening? I don't understand anything that's happening.
Yeah, you get really far in that game before...
Very far.
Before it's like, here's what this world is. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just... I've seen other people like figure it out since then and or guess at what some of the... I wouldn't even call them twists, but just reveals, I guess, are.
Yeah.
I was like, well, like figuring stuff out is not how I like to enjoy a story anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. But I remember literally walking up to the paintress being like, I still have no fucking idea what is going on other than maybe we're in a painting?
Right.
You know, but I like knew that going into the game.
Well, I thought the reason why was different than the reason that you get. Like,
I knew it wasn't.
I think it's pretty obvious what's going on at the beginning, but then you're like, why is that happening? Who did it? And what's really going on is like all very.
When you learn the rules
surprising.
Of the world, you're like, but why? You know, and the game refuses to tell you for a really long time. And I'm always surprised that nobody like sat Verso down and was like, tell us fucking everything or we will cut your head off. Because that's what I would have done, sure. Right?
That's how I felt. Every time. Yeah, my daughter was watching me play that game for quite a bit, and she was I have Verso in the party a lot, and he always just goes down. He just goes down every round. He'll die. And she's like, you're able to do the counter with Mael, but why don't you do it with him? And I'm like, he's not as good as her. So he ends up, and she's like, the timing is exactly the same. Why can't you do it? And I'm like, it's not me, it's him. He's not as good.
This is hilarious because I have that with Lune. Lune, I'm so much better at pairing with Lune than I am with anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But Lune I can do. Everybody else I'm bad at.
I have Verso's entire build is about dying and how it, like, he comes back from it. It hurts the enemies when he dies. It helps the allies when he dies. So like his entire point in the party now is to die.
I
That's
do
how I have him built.
love that the game was like, yeah, we'll make it good when you die.
Yeah. It's fun. All that stuff is pretty good. Yeah. So obviously we really like that game, which everybody likes that game right now. So, but it's kind of like right up our alley.
Yeah,
so.
It does kind of feel like it was made for us specifically. All right.
Except it's French.
Maybe I was trying not to bring my hatred of French over into, but it was made by France, so that's fine. It's French Canadian that I don't like.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That's an inside joke going back quite a ways that our new listeners, if anybody listens, probably nobody's going to listen to this, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
That I'm mean to people. Anyways, if you liked this, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Inferior Gaming. And you can follow me on Blue Sky also. I'm at Inferior Caitlin, and I just want to say that my username came before what we decided to name
show.
This podcast. I didn't make my username. It just sort of fits, but I've always known that I was the Inferior Caitlin. There's quite a few in my life, and so I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew where I was on the ranking.
The ranking.
Yeah.
You can also send emails to inferiorgamingpod@gmail.com, or you can use the Hallowed Ground Media contact page at hallowedgroundmedia.com and just scroll down and fill out the form. Send us a message.
And remember, Pac-Man was always educational. Hi all, editing Caitlin here. When I was editing the episode, I ultimately decided our full conversation about the choices in Dragon Age Inquisition was a little spoilery, so I cut most of it out. But if you have played it, or just don't care about spoilers, I've put the full conversation here at the end, and just wanted to give a spoiler warning, but here it is. I have this very vivid memory of, so that coworker who got me into Dragon Age, when I finally got to Inquisition, she was asking me everything, she was super into it, right? She was asking me about what my choices were, what my world state was at that point, and blah, 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 blah. And I'd only played through Origins the once at that point, because I just, powered through them all, right? And in that one, in Origins, I played a mage who romanced Alistair. So he wasn't king. And not having Alistair be alive and not king means he gets to go to the Fade with you. Okay. In Inquisition. And so my friend was like, oh, you'll get to do a mission with Alistair. And then she got this look of dread on her face. And in that moment, just seeing this look on her face, because she made her Alistair king. So she didn't have this. I just knew we were going to be choosing between him and Hawk dying. I hadn't even gotten to the mission yet, but just from this look on her face, I was like, oh, shit. and then you do have to make that choice, and it sucks.
Wait, what did you choose, though?
Oh, I left Hawk behind. My playthrough of Dragon Age 2, everything just went to shit at the end, And I was like, you know what, funny. Hawk? Just, maybe it's best if you just... man. I remember at the end of Dragon Age 2 letting Anders live because I was like, I need a healer for the final battle, but I don't care about you, okay? And then if you do that, of course, just because of where I was, what's his face? Broody elf guy betrayed us. And then we had to fight him too. And I was like, oh, god damn it. This is a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. The backstabbing into all of the...
So I was like, you know what, Hawk? It's fine. You maybe all your family's dead. Maybe you're better off. Also, I couldn't do that to my hero Ferelden. I couldn't kill Alistair on her. That would I cared more about my hero for Elden than I did my Dragon Age 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think I feel the same way. Even though my origins character was like a terrible, terrible person. Yeah. I think I liked him more.